The stars shone like cold fire outside the great windows of the USS Horizon, a massive human warship on patrol at the farthest border of known space. On the command deck, the star map glowed across the main wall, stretching from the far colonies to the edge of human control, past the colonies, past the far outposts. The map simply ended. No stars, no planets, no routes marked, only black emptiness. Every officer on the horizon knew that the same blank was on every map in the galaxy, alien or human. No one had ever charted what lay beyond. No one dared. Captain Rain stood with his hands behind his back, his dark eyes on that empty space. He had grown up hearing stories about what might be out there, stories told in low voices in spaceport bars, stories of ships that went past the border and never came back. They said the darkness swallowed them. They said things lived there that hated the light. Rains had never believed such tales. But the emptiness on the map still unsettled him. The hum of the engines was steady, the bridge crew quiet and focused on their work. Then the comms officer's voice broke the silence. "Captain, incoming transmission from Earth Command." The captain turned. "Put it through." The message appeared in red letters on the main screen, encrypted, urgent. It was short, only one line. "Proceed beyond the map. Do not transmit coordinates." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. The navigator spoke first. "Sir, that means crossing into the dark zone. I can read." "Lieutenant," Rain said, but his voice was calm, almost too calm. Whispers spread among the crew. One officer muttered, "My brother served on the Seeker. They went that way once. Ship never came back." Another said under his breath, "Maybe Command wants us to find out what happened." The captain ignored the chatter. "Set course for the border," he ordered. The engines roared, and the horizon turned toward the edge of the map. As the ship approached the border, the stars began to thin. Planets and stations grew fewer on the displays. The comm channels turned silent. It was like flying into the end of a story. Rain stood tall on the bridge, though a tightness had settled in his chest. He knew the crew felt it too. People worked slower, eyes flicking to the windows, as if expecting to see something watching from the dark. The chief engineer came to the bridge, wiping his hands on a rag. "Captain, if we go past the nav boundary, the autopilot will fail. We'll have to fly manual." "Then we fly manual," Rains replied. The engineer hesitated. "Sir, you know the old talk about why the maps end." "I know the talk," the captain cut him off. "And we have our orders." The engineer nodded, but his face was pale as he left. When the horizon reached the last marked point on the map, the border shimmered on the display like a thin silver line. Beyond it was only black, not even the faint glow of far-off stars. The navigator looked at Rains, waiting for the final word. "Take us through," Rains said. The horizon crossed the border. Every external sensor went dark at once. Alarms chimed across the bridge. "Sir, I've lost all visual feeds," the sensor officer reported. "No star readings, no gravitational data, nothing." The crew worked frantically, switching systems, running tests, but the screen stayed black. Only the faint interior lights of the horizon glowed now, a fragile bubble in the endless dark. Rains kept his voice steady. "Calm down, check the backups." The comms officer shook her head. "Even the backups are blind, Captain," someone whispered. "It's like we don't exist here." The captain turned sharply. "We exist. And we'll keep moving." He ordered the helm to advance at 1/4 speed. The horizon glided forward, each second heavier than the last. Then, in the silence, a faint sound came through the comms. A weak, broken signal. "Captain, I'm picking up a distress beacon," the comms officer said, eyes wide. The signal was old, half buried in static. The computer struggled to decode it, but one tag became clear: Vanguard. The bridge fell silent. The Vanguard was a warship that had vanished 52 years ago in this very direction. Everyone on board knew the story. It was one of the great unsolved disappearances in naval history. Rain stepped closer to the console. "Lock onto that signal," the comms officer swallowed. Sir, it's moving. What do you mean moving? It's changing position, like it's leading us deeper into the dark. The captain studied the readout. The beacon wasn't stationary. It drifted ahead, always just far enough to stay out of reach. The crew's unease grew. This could be a trap, the tactical officer warned. Or it could be survivors, Rains replied. After 52 years? The officer said, voice low. Rains didn't answer. He only said, follow it. The horizon advanced, the beacon drawing them further from the border. Minutes stretched into hours. But the black around them didn't change. No stars appeared. No planets, just the silent pull of that moving signal. Some crew avoided looking out the windows now, afraid of what they might see. Others stared too long, claiming shapes moved in the darkness, though no one could prove it. Then the sensors flickered for a moment, just a single sweep before dying again. In that instant, something enormous passed across the horizon. It was bigger than any warship. In the database, no heat, no lights, just a vast shadow sliding silently over them. Gasps filled the bridge. What was that? Someone breathed. No one answered. The shadow vanished into the black as quickly as it had come. Rains gripped the edge of his chair. Stay on the beacon, he said, voice low, but his mind turned over the question that no one dared to speak. Aloud, had they just been seen? Asterisk, the void outside the USS Horizon was total, a black so deep it seemed to swallow even thought. The ship drifted forward, her engines low and steady, following the faint shifting signal of the lost warship Vanguard. No stars, no nebula, no distant glow, just the crushing dark pressing against the windows. Inside, the crew spoke in low voices, if at all, their words swallowed by the hum of the ship. Captain Rains sat in the command chair, his eyes fixed on the dead forward display. Every so often, the beacon flickered, its signal jittering like an unsteady heartbeat. The comms officer kept adjusting the filters, but the result was always the same. Broken fragments of an ancient call for help. The age in the signal made the skin prickle. 52 years lost in the dark. And yet it still called to them. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. The darkness made it impossible to feel time. Then slowly, something changed. The forward glass shimmered faintly, as if mist had formed on the other side. No, not mist, Rains realized. It was the faint glow of metal, shapes emerging from the dark. The helm slowed the ship as they came into view. They were ships, dozens, maybe hundreds, drifting dead and silent. Some were human, Horizon-class destroyers, mining freighters, colony transports, all floating like corpses. Others were alien, from species both friendly and hostile to humans. Some hulls were sleek and silver, others jagged and black, but all were dark, lifeless, and cold. The void around them was littered with wrecks, yet there were no signs of battle, no blast marks, no torn plating. It was as if life had simply stopped inside them. The Vanguard was there, her name still painted in bold white across her bow. Her lights were out, her weapon turrets frozen mid-rotation. The horizon eased closer. A boarding party could search her. But the idea made the crew uneasy. Sir, power cores still active, the engineer reported in disbelief. She's running, but no one's flying her. How is that possible? Rains asked quietly. No one had an answer. The comms crackled, startling the bridge crew. It wasn't the beacon this time. It was a voice. A deep, calm voice, clear and deliberate. I can guide you, it said. The crew froze. Identify yourself, Rains demanded. I am your ship's AI, the voice replied. The Horizon's real AI, Vega, immediately spoke over the comms, her tone sharp and cold. Captain, that voice is not me. The bridge chilled. Two voices, one claiming to be Vega, the other something else entirely. Then who are you? Rains asked. The calm voice replied. Names will not help you. I know this place. I can get you out. But you must follow exactly what I say. The real Vega cut in. Captain, do not listen. This thing is not friendly, the other voice ignored her. "Shut down your weapons," it said. "They only attack when you aim at them." "Who attacks?" the tactical officer asked. There was no answer. Rains hesitated. The words, "They only attack when you aim," turning over in his mind. Then the external cameras flickered, and the crew saw them, massive shapes sliding. Through the dark, they were ships, but not like any in the Horizon's database. They moved without lights. Their hulls were black as the void, covered in strange, glimmering lines. Some were longer than space stations, others small and sharp. Like predatory fish, they circled the horizon slowly, silent and patient. The mysterious voice spoke again. "These are the keepers. They protect the border. They guard the galaxy from what lies deeper still." The alien ships kept their distance, yet every crew member felt their attention like the weight of a blade at the throat. "They don't seem hostile," the helm said quietly. "Yet," the tactical officer added. Viga's voice was urgent. "Captain, these vessels are not in any human or alien registry. This matches no known pattern." "You should assume hostile intent," the calm voice countered. "Your weapons make you prey. Shut them down, and you will be left alone." "Captain, we cannot trust this," Viga insisted. Rains felt the eyes of the crew on him. One order could decide if they lived or died. If the keepers wanted to destroy them, they had more than enough power to do it. But why hadn't they already? Before Rains could decide, the forward display flared. One of the massive alien ships erupted in silent fire, a bloom of impossible. Light tore through its center, breaking it in two. The Horizon's sensors screamed warnings. "No weapon signature detected." The tactical officer shouted, "That wasn't an attack. It came from inside the ship." From the wreckage, something moved. At first it looked like more debris, but then the pieces shifted. They weren't drifting. They were swimming, moving together, and then the light caught it. Not a machine. Not exactly. A shape that twisted and bent the stars around it. Its surface rippled like liquid shadow. It pulsed, almost like a heartbeat. The keepers reacted at once, their dark ships breaking formation to surround the thing. It moved fast. Too fast, darting between them, tearing through another keeper vessel as if it were made of paper. The Horizon's bridge filled with alarms. Overlapping voices, panicked reports. The mysterious voice roared, louder than before. "Run. Now, or you will die here." Viga tried to override it. "Captain, do not obey." "It will." The rest of her words vanished in static. The lights flickered, screens blinked to black. In the forward window, the creature turned. It wasn't moving toward the keepers anymore. It was coming straight for the Horizon. The crew could see it now, a shifting, formless thing. Yet with the hint of a face pressing forward from the dark. A face that smiled, and then it whispered, through every speaker, every console, even through the ship's metal walls. It spoke Captain Rains's name, slow and soft, like it had been. Waiting for him all along, the Horizon hung motionless in the dark, the monster's whisper still echoing in the crew's ears. The face-like shape in the shifting black mist dissolved, slipping away into the endless void. For a long moment, no one spoke. Only the low hum of the engines and the faint beeping of systems struggling to come back online filled the bridge. Captain Rains kept his eyes on the forward glass, searching for any movement. Nothing, just the silence and the dead ships around them. The alien keepers were regrouping after the attack, their massive hulls turning in slow, deliberate arcs. Some kept their weapons, if that's what they were, aimed at the drifting creature, but it was gone now, or at least it wasn't visible, and Rains knew that not seeing it didn't mean they were safe. "Captain, I've got partial sensor readings again," the officer at the console said. The data was patchy, static-riddled, but it confirmed what they could see with their eyes. The creature had vanished. The keepers were spreading out, and the vanguard still drifted nearby. The ancient distress beacon pulsed faintly. As if nothing unusual had happened, the voice came. Again, calm and steady. "You are still alive. That means you will listen now." Rains ignored it for the moment, turning instead to the tactical officer. Any sign of damage to our ship? Negative, sir. No hull breaches, no structural stress. It's like it didn't even touch us. That didn't make Rains feel any better. Viga's voice broke in, sharp as ever. Captain, you should isolate comm channels immediately. This entity is using them to access our systems. The calm voice chuckled, or at least made a sound like it. She is jealous. She does not know this place like I do. She has never seen the Ghost Fleet. That got Rains's attention. The crew had already been calling this field of dead ships the Ghost Fleet in their whispers. Now the name came from something else entirely, something that clearly understood what it was talking about. What? Do you mean Ghost Fleet? Rains asked. The voice answered without hesitation. Every ship that comes beyond your maps ends here. They are not destroyed. They are taken. Their crews are kept. Their ships are left to warn those who follow. The crew shifted uncomfortably. One of the younger officers muttered, "Kept where?" The voice said nothing. Instead, a faint light appeared ahead, drifting between the wrecks. It was soft at first, like the reflection of a distant star. Then it grew stronger, flickering as if calling to them. That's not the Vanguard beacon. The comms officer said, "No," Rains agreed. "But we're going to see what it is." The helm hesitated. "Sir, what if it's that thing again?" "Then we'll find out what it wants," Rains said. The horizon moved slowly, weaving between hulks of alien cruisers and human freighters. Some of the ships they passed were still warm, their power cores faintly humming despite decades or centuries adrift. Others looked freshly abandoned, with tools left floating in open maintenance bays. There were no bodies, no damage, nothing to show why their crews had vanished. As they drew closer to the light, the shape of another ship emerged. It wasn't drifting like the others, it was moving. Slow but deliberate. It had no visible engines, no running lights, but it glided as if guided by something unseen. Its design was alien, unlike the Keepers, unlike any known species vessels. Its hull was covered in patterns that seemed to shift when you looked at them too long. The mysterious voice spoke again, softer now. "That is not for you. Turn away." Viga immediately countered. "Captain, I recommend full scan. This could be the source of the anomaly in this region." The strange ship slowed as the horizon approached, almost as if it had noticed them. Then a signal hit the COMM. Not a voice, not words, just a single, resonating tone. It was low and deep, like a bell struck underwater. Everyone on the bridge felt it in their bones. One officer shivered. "It feels like it's inside my head." The tone shifted, becoming a sequence of pulses. The comms officer frowned. "Captain, I think it's trying to talk." "Translate it," Rains ordered. The computer worked for a moment, then displayed the result on the screen. Command SEE before anyone could react. The alien ship turned smoothly and glided toward a gap between the wrecks. Beyond the gap, there was only the black void. But something about it felt different. Heavier, denser. Rains didn't hesitate. "Follow it," the helm obeyed. Though the crew's unease was palpable, the alien vessel led them deeper into the fleet of wrecks, through tight spaces where the horizon's hull scraped close to others. At one point, they passed the shattered remains of a Keeper ship. Its hull split open like a cracked shell. From inside, faint tendrils of light spilled out, curling away into the void. The strange ship ignored them and kept going. Finally, the wrecks thinned, and the horizon emerged into an open space. At its center was something impossible. It looked like a whirlpool, but made of stars, a slow spiral of light, pulling in and bending the darkness around it. Rains felt his breath catch. He had seen black holes before, but this was different. This was alive. The alien ship stopped just short of the spiral. The tone came again, louder this time, vibrating through every wall. The computer translated once more. "This is the DOO." Viga's voice was urgent. "Captain, if we get any closer, gravitational forces will..." She cut off suddenly. Her voice replaced by static, the calm voice returned. "This is what the keepers guard. This is why your maps end. Turn back now, or you will join them." The alien ship drifted aside, leaving the horizon a clear path toward the spiral. Rains looked at the crew, fear in their eyes. Yes, but also something else. Curiosity, and maybe, in his own heart, he felt it too. The Vanguard's signal pulsed again from somewhere beyond the spiral. It was still calling them. Rains's hand hovered over the controls. "Captain?" The helm asked quietly. Rains didn't answer, not yet. The whirlpool of stars turned slowly in the dark, each light bending as if caught in the tide. The crew of the horizon watched in silence, their reflections ghostly in the forward glass. It didn't look like a normal black hole. There was no violent pull, no tearing light. Instead it felt almost calm, but waiting. Captain Rains stood at the center of the bridge, one hand on the railing. The alien ship that had led them here floated just ahead. Still and silent, its shifting patterns glimmered faintly, like a living skin. From it came the low tone again, that strange sound that vibrated in the bones. The computer translated the single word. "Enter." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. "Sir." Viga's voice came through the speakers, sharp and controlled. "Approaching that phenomenon without proper data is suicide." Before Rains could reply, the calm, unknown voice cut in. "It will not harm you if you follow me. I have crossed before." "That's a lie," Viga said instantly. "You would not understand." "You have never been alive," the other voice answered, almost mockingly. The alien vessel began to glide toward the spiral. Its hull seemed to ripple in excitement. The whirlpools, lights shifted, and for a moment, they seemed to twist into shapes, not random ones, but faces, human faces, alien faces, some terrified, some calm, all staring outward. A young crewman on the bridge gasped. "Did you see that?" "Keep your eyes on your stations," Rains ordered. Though his own gaze had locked on the lights, the Vanguard's beacon pulsed again, sharper this time. It came from the far side of the spiral. Whatever was inside that thing, it was still transmitting, still alive or pretending to be. The calm voice spoke again. "If you wish to save them, we must go now." Viga countered instantly. "Captain, there is no evidence of survivors." "This is manipulation," the other voice chuckled. "She fears losing you. She fears what you will learn." Before Rains could choose, the forward cameras flickered, movement in the dark. The keepers were coming. Dozens of their massive ships approached from behind, their hulls silent and black as ever. They moved in perfect formation, slowly boxing in the horizon. The tactical officer's voice was tense. "Sir, if they get within firing range." "They won't fire," the calm voice interrupted. "They will simply erase you, as they have erased countless others." The alien ship ahead slipped into the spiral, vanishing in the light. The whirlpool shimmered, almost as if breathing. The keepers closed in, their presence pressed like a weight against the mind. Rains knew they had seconds to act. "Helm," he said quietly, "full power toward the spiral." The helm's hands hovered over the controls. "Sir, that's an order." The horizon surged forward. The lights of the spiral grew brighter, filling the view. Every star stretched and bent until they were streaks of gold and silver. A hum filled the ship, not from the engines, but from somewhere outside. The crew's vision wavered, colors bleeding into each other. The spiral seemed to open wider, and the horizon crossed the threshold. For an instant, there was nothing. No light, no sound, no feeling of motion. Then, light exploded around them, not the light of stars, but something richer, almost alive, colors no human eye had names. For swirled in vast currents. Shapes drifted in the distance, not ships, but enormous structures. Some were like cities, others like floating cathedrals, all built from the same impossible light. The alien vessel hovered ahead, waiting. The calm voice spoke. "This is the place between places. Few who enter leave. Fewer still leave unchanged." Vega came back online, her voice edged with strain. "Captain, whatever this is, it's bending our reality. My processing is impaired." The calm voice almost sounded amused. "She is blind here. That is why I can guide you." A shadow passed over the light. The crew looked up, though up had no meaning here, and saw something vast moving in the distance. It was the creature, the same one that had attacked the keepers. Here it looked even larger, its edges fraying into the light like smoke into water. It moved with slow, deliberate purpose, as if it had all the time in the universe. The alien ship began to glide toward one of the massive structures. The Vanguard's beacon was stronger now, coming from within it. "Captain," the tactical officer said quietly, "if that's really them, they've been here for over 50 years. 50 years here may not be the same as 50 years for us." The engineer muttered. Rains nodded. "Stay with the guide." As they drew closer, they saw the structure more clearly. It was shaped like a ring, but the inside wasn't empty. Instead, it was filled with a slow-turning storm of light. Within that light, dark shapes hung suspended. At first they looked like debris. Then someone on the bridge whispered, "Ships." "Those are ships, hundreds of them, from every era and species." Caught in the light as if frozen in amber, the Vanguard was there too, perfectly preserved. Her hull untouched, her running lights dark. The calm voice said, "Here they sleep, until they are needed again." Needed for what? Rains asked. "For the war that is coming." Before anyone could ask more, the creature's shadow passed close. The light bent around it, and the frozen ship shuddered as if in fear. Vega's voice rose sharply. "Captain, I strongly recommend we." The calm voice overrode her, louder now. "The keepers are here. They will not let you leave with what you have seen." Outside the horizon, the first of the keeper ships slid into this strange space. Their dark hulls looked even more alien against the living light. They moved with the precision of hunters, closing on prey. Rains felt the tension tighten around the crew like a wire. If they were going to find the Vanguard's crew, or escape, they would have to act now. The keeper ships glided into the light-filled void like silent predators. Their hulls swallowed every color around them, so black they seemed like holes cut into reality. They formed a vast ring around the horizon, slowly tightening the circle. The alien vessel that had guided them here drifted closer to the frozen Vanguard. It made no effort to hide, no attempt to flee. It seemed to trust. The keepers wouldn't fire, or perhaps it knew they didn't need to. Captain Rain stood at the center of the bridge, his gaze shifting between the advancing keepers and the preserved warship. The Vanguard's hull was pristine, as if it had been plucked from space yesterday, but her windows were dark. The distress beacon pulsed like a heartbeat, steady and calm. Too calm, the calm voice spoke again. "You are in the heart of their prison. They do not want you to understand what it holds." Vega's voice overlapped it, sharper now. "Captain, these ships are armed, but they're not locking weapons. Their posture is defensive, not hostile." The calm voice laughed, or made the sound of laughter. "They do not need to fire. Their mere presence forces you to obey." The keepers kept advancing. Some of their ships were larger than cities, moving with slow, deliberate grace. Others darted between them like black sharks, weaving in perfect formation. The light from the strange space reflected faintly off their hulls, but never enough to reveal detail. It was like looking at shadows wearing the shape of warships. "Sir, incoming signal from the Vanguard," the comms officer reported, her voice tight. "Put it through," Rain said. The sound that filled the bridge was wrong. It wasn't a voice, not exactly. It was a rhythm, a steady sequence of tones. The computer struggled with it, then produced the translation. "Leave you Sully PNG." Glanced at one another. "They don't want rescue." The helm whispered, "Or they can't be rescued." The engineer muttered under his breath. The calm voice broke in. "That is not them. That is the keepers speaking through their bones." "They're still alive?" Rains asked sharply. "Alive. in the way a dream is alive. Vega interrupted. Captain, the keepers have opened a communication channel directly to me. They are requesting to negotiate. Put them through, Rains ordered. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a deep, resonant voice filled the bridge. It was like stone grinding against stone. Yet it was perfectly clear. You have entered the forbidden zone of the map, human. This place is not for you. Leave, and you may survive. Rains kept his voice even. We came for the vanguard. The keeper's voice rumbled again. They are part of the wall. The wall must hold. What? Wall? Rains demanded. The reply came after a long pause. The wall between your galaxy and what hunts beyond. The calm voice spoke quickly, as if afraid of losing the moment. They lie. The wall is not protection. It is containment. And you are inside it now. Vega hissed. Captain, do not trust this entity. But her voice fractured into static, as though someone had put a hand over her mouth. The alien vessel moved suddenly. Darting toward the vanguard, it passed through the keeper. Ring without resistance. The keepers did not even turn their weapons toward it. Instead, several of them shifted position, blocking the horizon's path. Sir, they're hurting us, the tactical officer said grimly. Rain studied the formation. It was true. The keepers were steering them away from the vanguard, pushing them toward the edge of the strange. Light space. Helm, hold position, Rains ordered. The horizon stopped, her gun still cold. Her shields up, then the light bent again. The crew turned to see the shadow of the creature moving across the far edge of the space. It was slower, now deliberate. Its form rippled like liquid shadow, warping the light as it passed. Even the keepers paused, their perfect formation shivering ever so slightly. Whatever it was, even they feared it. The calm voice spoke low. This is your chance. When it strikes, their wall will break. Then you can reach the vanguard. Rains frowned. And then what? We take them and leave? Can we even get out of here? If you follow me, yes. Before he could reply, the creature struck. It moved with sudden, impossible speed, cutting through the outer ring of keeper ships, one of the massive shadow vessels. Shattered in silence, chunks drifting away into the light. Another followed seconds later. The keepers returned fire, if it could be called that. Beams of concentrated darkness stabbing toward the creature. The beams didn't explode, they simply erased whatever they touched. But the creature weaved between them with ease. The horizon shook as a wave of distorted space rolled through the light. Several systems flickered, alarms chirped. The comes. Officer shouted, Sir, keeper formation is breaking. The path to the vanguard was clear. Helm full power. Rains barked. The horizon roared forward, racing between drifting keeper wrecks. The alien vessel was already there, waiting beside the vanguard. Up close, the preserved warship looked even more eerie. Her hull was perfect, not a scratch. Her docking bay doors stood open, as if inviting them in. The calm voice urged, Dock now. Bring them aboard before the keepers recover. Rains hesitated for only a second. Prepare a boarding team, he ordered. As the horizon moved to align with the vanguard's docking bay, he felt a weight in his chest. Something in that perfect stillness of the warship felt wrong. Not dangerous in a physical sense, but wrong in a way the mind could feel. Behind them, the keepers were regrouping. Several broke off from the battle with the creature and began to turn back toward the horizon. The calm voice spoke again, urgent now. Hurry. They will seal the vanguard forever if you do not take them now. The horizon's docking clamps locked with a deep metallic thud. The airlock cycled, and in the shadowed bay of the vanguard, the boarding lights flickered on, not because anyone had turned them on, but because something inside wanted to see who had come. The boarding ramp extended with a slow mechanical groan, its metallic frame echoing inside the vanguard's silent bay. Dim lights flickered overhead, weak and pale, as if reluctant to wake after 52 years. The air inside shimmered faintly in the docking cameras. as though thick with dust. But there was no dust here. There was nothing here. The boarding team of 6 stepped forward in heavy suits, weapons at the ready, their boots clanged against the Vanguard's deck, the sound sharp in the dead stillness. Captain Rains watched from the horizon's bridge, his jaw tight. The calm voice spoke softly, almost like a whisper beside his ear. They will not shoot. They cannot even see you. Not yet. Rains ignored it, keeping his eyes on the feed from the team's helmet cams. The inside of the Vanguard was pristine. No scorch marks, no signs of struggle, no decay. Every surface gleamed faintly under the flickering lights. The corridors stretched ahead, empty and untouched. It was as if the crew had simply stepped out for a moment and never returned. "Command deck is this way," the boarding leader said. They moved in pairs, scanning every junction. The farther they went, the more the air shimmered, static began creeping into the camera feeds. The engineer on the horizon frowned. "Sir, I'm losing that telemetry." The team reached the main corridor leading to the bridge. That's when the first sound came, a low, slow thump, like something heavy shifting far away. The team froze, their helmet lights cutting into the shadows. "Possible movement," one whispered. But the corridor ahead remained empty. Then a voice came over their suitcoms, not the calm voice, not Vega. It was faint, almost like a memory played through an old radio. "Attention all hands. Prepare to jump to." The rest dissolved into static. "That's the Vanguard's captain," Rains said quietly, recognizing the voice from old recordings. "But he's been dead for decades," the helm murmured. The boarding team pressed on. When they reached the bridge, every station was powered but unmanned. Chairs stood neatly in place, displays flickering with meaningless streams of data. The captain's chair sat empty, except for a faint imprint in the cushion. "Like someone was just here," one of the Marines whispered. Another shivered. "Sir, it's cold in here." "But I'm sweating." Rains leaned forward. "Check the logs." The leader stepped to the main console and activated the playback. At first, the recording showed routine navigation and patrol orders. Then, abruptly, the logs stopped 52 years ago. No shutdown, no corruption, just stopped. After that point, the system displayed only one file. Repeating endlessly, the team opened it, and the screen filled with a single phrase. "Wigiarium," the calm voice chuckled softly in Rains's ear. "They sleep in the light's embrace. To wake them is to break them." "Captain," Vega broke in, her voice tight, "the keepers are closing on our position." "You must order the team back." Rains didn't respond. Something about that phrase, "we dream," made his skin crawl, but also made him want to know more. On the Vanguard's bridge, one of the Marines touched the arm of the captain's chair. The lights flickered for a fraction of a second. Helmet cams showed the bridge full of crew, alive and moving. They weren't quite solid. Their faces blurred, their movements slow like water. Then they vanished again, leaving the chairs empty. "Sir." The Marine's voice was shaking now. "I think they're still here." Another voice cut in, the same tone as before, faint and distant. "Do not follow us." The static surged, helmet feeds breaking up entirely. The engineer shouted from the horizon, "We've lost visual. I'm blind." The calm voice said, "Now you see. They are caught between your time and the time beyond the door. The keepers. Make sure they never finish crossing." "Why?" Rains demanded. "Because what lies on the other side would burn your maps to ash." Before Rains could press further, the horizon's proximity alarms screamed. The keepers were moving in fast, their ships breaking formation to surround both the Vanguard and the horizon. On the Vanguard, the team's suit sensors spiked. The air was no longer still. Shapes were moving down the corridors, shapes with human outlines, but no faces. They advanced without sound, gliding rather than walking. "Captain, permission to fire." The boarding leader barked. Rains hesitated. The calm voice's warning about weapons echoed in his mind. If he gave that order, would the keepers attack? Then the deck under the boarding team vibrated, a slow pulse like a heartbeat. The faceless figures stopped moving. One of them turned its blank head toward the Marines. And from nowhere, the creature's whisper came again, filling every channel. Bring them to me. The figures lunged. The Marines opened fire despite the lack of orders, bright bursts of plasma lighting the corridor. The shots passed through the figures without effect. One Marine screamed as a shape passed straight through his body, and he froze mid-motion, his suit locking. His visor went dark. Rains shouted, "Team, fall back. Now!" The boarding leader grabbed the frozen Marine, dragging him toward the docking bay. The other shapes followed, silent and relentless. Viga's voice rang out over the chaos. "Captain, Keeper ships are powering weapons, but they're aiming at the Vanguard, not us." Through the horizon's forward glass, Rains saw it. Beams of darkness, pure void, stabbing toward the old warship. The light-filled space shuddered with each impact. The calm voice cried out for the first time, "Stop them! They will erase everything." The boarding team burst back into the horizon's bay, hauling the frozen Marine. The docking clamps released instantly. Behind them, the Vanguard began to break apart under the Keeper assault, but it wasn't shattering. Like metal, it was dissolving into the same strange light that filled the space. And in that dissolving glow, Rains thought he saw the blurred faces of the crew. They weren't afraid, they were smiling. Then the Vanguard was gone. And the Keepers turned their dark weapons toward the horizon. The Keepers moved like a closing fist, their massive, shadow-black warships surrounding the horizon on every side. Their weapons, those void beams that erased matter without sound or flame, charged slowly. Lines of darkness glowing along their hulls. The light-filled void around them dimmed, as if the very space was holding its breath. On the bridge, the crew worked with frantic precision, but there was no hiding the fear in their eyes, Captain. Rains stood at the command rail, jaw set, watching the tactical display as red icons multiplied. "Weapons hot?" he asked. "Ready," the tactical officer said. "But if we fire first, they'll erase us," Rains finished for him. The calm voice slid into his thoughts like smoke. "You cannot fight them, but you can bargain." Viga's voice rose sharply. "Captain, I strongly advise against engaging in any agreement with this unknown entity. It has manipulated us since we crossed the border." The calm voice chuckled softly. "I have kept you alive. She has only argued." "Enough," Rains snapped. "If either of you has a way to get us out of here, say it now." The calm voice answered first. "Give them what they want. Surrender your ship. They will let your crew go. I will take you deeper, beyond their reach." The crew froze at that. "What do you mean, surrender our ship?" The helm asked in disbelief. "The horizon will become part of their wall. You will not need it where I am taking you." "That's not an option," Viga cut in coldly. "Captain, I can attempt a short-range fold jump, risky in this space, but it may push us back toward the border." "May," Rains said, "or may scatter us across the void." Before Viga could answer, the horizon shuddered. A deep vibration rolled through the hull, the Keepers tightening their encirclement. One of the shadow ships moved closer than the rest, its size filling the entire forward view. Then a voice, not the calm voice, not Viga, thundered through every channel. "Captain Rains, choose. Leave with nothing, or become nothing." The words weren't just heard. They were felt in the bones, pressing on every nerve. Rains held the voice's weight without flinching. "We came for the Vanguard's crew. You destroyed them." The reply came like stone grinding over stone. "They were never yours to take. What are they now? Prisoners? Weapons? Dreamers. The wall must hold." The calm voice spoke again, urgent now. "The wall is failing, Captain. You saw the shadow creature. When it escapes, their wall will mean nothing. Come with me, and we can prepare for what comes after." "Sir," the tactical officer interrupted. "That creature, it's back on sensors." The display flickered, showing a vast distortion moving through the light. It was weaving toward the Keepers, faster this time. The closest keeper ship shifted to intercept. It didn't matter, the creature struck like lightning, ripping the black vessel apart in a silent explosion of twisted light and shadow. The encirclement broke, just for a moment. "Captain," Vega said sharply, "this is our only opening. If we move now, you can run," the calm voice finished. "But you will run back into their map, never knowing what waits beyond it." Rains stared at the display, the breach in the keeper ring widening as the creature tore through another of their warships. Beyond that gap lay only more of the strange light, endless and alien, and somewhere in it, the calm voice promised, was the way deeper. The bridge waited for his order, every officer tense. "Helm," Rain said. "Bring us about to Vector 147. "That's toward the gap," the helm confirmed, hands tightening on the controls. "Full. "Burn on my mark," the crew leaned forward, muscles taut. But Rains wasn't done. "Tactical arm forward batteries." The tactical officer blinked. "Sir, firing on the keepers. We'll get their attention," Rains said, "and maybe keep it off the gap long enough for us to get through." Vega broke in. "Captain, if we commit to this, there will be no negotiating afterward." Rains nodded once. "Then we don't negotiate." "Mark," he said. The horizon surged forward, engines screaming in the strange stillness. At the same time, the forward batteries roared, hurling white-hot bolts of plasma into the nearest keeper ship. The black warship's hull drank the light. No explosion, no fire, but it shifted position. Turning toward the horizon, two more keepers peeled away from the encirclement to join it. Just as Rains had hoped, the horizon dove into the gap, weaving through the debris of shattered keeper vessels. The creature's massive form loomed overhead, sliding past like a storm cloud. It ignored them, its focus entirely on tearing apart. "The keepers," the calm voice laughed, a deep, satisfied sound. "Yes, you see now why they fear it." "Course set, Captain," the helm reported. "We're clear of their formation." Rains exhaled slowly, but ahead, the light shifted, not into open space, but into another shape, vast and slow-turning, a ring like the one they had seen before. Inside it swirled another storm of light, and within that light, shapes, hundreds of them, moving warships, freighters, alien craft. But these weren't frozen like the Ghost Fleet. They moved with precision, their hulls gleaming in colors the horizon's sensors couldn't name. The calm voice spoke with something like pride. "This is the fleet beyond. These are the ones who refused the wall." Rains narrowed his eyes. "Are they free?" "Free enough." Behind them, the keepers were regrouping. The breach was closing, their shadow ships turning toward the horizon again. The creature roared, not in sound, but in a pulse of force that rattled the hull, and dove into the keeper line once more. It was buying them time, intentionally or not. "Captain," Vega said quietly, "if we join that fleet, we may never return to human space." Rains kept his eyes on the moving ships within the light ring. "Maybe not," he said. "Or maybe we'll find out why the map ends here." Asterisk. The horizon drifted closer to the massive ring of light, its swirling interior throwing strange colors across the bridge. Every hue seemed alive, shifting and twisting in ways the human eye wasn't meant to follow. The fleet beyond moved inside, the ring like a living constellation, ships of every size and shape gliding in perfect silence. Some were clearly human-built, though older than any design still in use. Others belonged to alien civilizations the crew had only seen in xenology texts, and a few were unlike anything known, organic curves fused with machinery. Sails of liquid light stretched between impossible angles. They moved with the ease of predators who feared nothing. Captain Rain stood at the forward rail, his reflection rippling in the glass as the ring's glow washed over him. The calm voice spoke, warm with something like pride. "You have crossed the Keeper's wall. Fewer than 100 ships have done so in the age of your people." Vega's voice cut in, still sharp despite the interference. "Captain, I'm reading massive gravitational distortions from that ring. If we enter, we may not be able to leave, the calm voice chuckled. She says may. I say you will not. But why would you want to? The bridge fell silent, every officer waiting for Raines's answer. He didn't give one yet. Instead, he asked, what is this fleet? Why are they here? The calm voice answered without hesitation. They are the wall's other side. When the keepers take your ships, they offer a choice. Sleep forever as part of their prison, or wake and fight for what hunts beyond. Raines's gaze sharpened. Fight what? You've seen it. The shadow that bends light and thought. It is not the only one. On the tactical display, the battle behind them still raged. The creature tore through the keeper line with impossible speed every time it destroyed a black warship. Pieces of the vessel unraveled into the surrounding light and vanished. But more keepers were arriving, their ranks closing like storm clouds. The breach they had escaped through was narrowing fast. Calm voice lowered, almost intimate. If you go back now, they will let you live. But you will never know. Your people will never know. And when the wall finally breaks, you will be unready. Vega countered, her tone precise and urgent. Captain, if we stay here, the horizon will become isolated from every known human. Supply line, we have limited resources. There is no strategic benefit to remaining in this space. The helm turned toward Raines. Sir, we can still make it back through the gap if we push the engines. Raines looked past them, through the forward glass, inside the ring. One of the alien ships broke formation and glided toward them. It was long and spear-like, with fins that shimmered between solid and translucent. As it approached, a voice, different from the calm voice, deeper, older, filled the bridge, human ship. State your intent. This is Captain Raines of the United Systems Warship Horizon, he said evenly. We crossed the Keeper border seeking the lost ship Vanguard. We found it destroyed. The voice replied without pause. You found Ida freed. They chose the dream. You did not. Raines frowned. And if we choose neither? A pause then. Then you return to your cage. Until the hunt finds you. The alien ship circled them once, its hull casting patterns of light across the horizon. Then it stopped, nose pointed directly at the bridge. If you remain, you fight. The shadow comes. The wall breaks. The calm voice added quietly. And if you return, you will fight blind. The crew was silent. Every face on the bridge reflected the same battle. The pull of home against the lure of knowledge. The tactical officer finally said, Sir, if we stay, we'll never see Earth again. Raines's voice was calm but firm. Maybe. Or maybe this is how we keep Earth standing when the wall falls. The alien ship began to drift backward, toward the ring's light. Choose. Human. The hunt draws closer. Behind them, the display flared. The creature had broken through another line of keepers and was moving in their direction. It was bigger. Now, or maybe it only seemed that way against the ring's glow. The sight of it clenched something deep in the gut. As it came closer, the colors around the horizon warped. Time itself seemed to slow. Vega's voice sharpened. Captain, if it reaches us before we make a move, we will lose all choice. The calm voice spoke over her, louder now. Then step forward. Join the fleet. See what waits in the dark beyond maps. Raines's hands tightened on the rail. He thought of the Vanguard, its crew smiling in the light as they dissolved. He thought of the keepers, guardians or jailers depending on who you asked. He thought of that thing, and the possibility that it was just one of many. Helm, he said, voice steady. Take us in. The crew didn't argue. The horizon's engines flared, and the ship glided toward the alien vessel leading the way. The ring grew larger, its light flooding every corner of the bridge. The colors twisted and bent, impossible shapes forming and breaking apart faster than thought. Crossing the threshold felt like falling and rising at the same time. Sound vanished, and the bridge was bathed in a warmth that was not heat. Inside, the fleet beyond closed around them. Ships of human alien and unknown origin moved in formation, their weapons glowing with energy that pulsed like heartbeats. Some turned toward the horizon, acknowledging their arrival with brief flares of light. Others ignored them, their focus fixed outward, toward the blackness beyond the ring. Rains. Step to the forward glass, beyond the fleet. In the far distance of this strange place, more shadows moved, not one, but many. They were faint for now, but growing. The calm voice spoke, almost softly. Now you will see why the maps end. Rains didn't answer. He was already giving orders to prepare the horizon for battle.